46,862,318. Why do I care so much about politics? It's because of that number. That number is the estimated amount of total income tax I believe I will pay before I retire at the age of 65. And what will I be getting in return from the government? Plunder cases? Electoral crisis? Remember Hello Garci? How about elusive justice to our fallen heroes, like the SAF 44? Or how about incompetent strategy on the war on drugs and weak political will on the West Philippine Sea? So I left my job to see to it that someday the taxes I will pay will work for me, will work for us. Let's look at this lifetime income tax perspective at scale. Imagine a college graduate of 2019 with a starting monthly salary of 10,000 pesos. Then this person managed to grow that income to 30,000 pesos by 2029. In that period, this person would have paid around 43,000 pesos in income tax alone. Now, multiply that with the possible number of college graduates this year, let's say around 700,000. In the next 10 years, the batch of 2019 would have paid around 30 billion pesos in income tax alone. A lot of good could be done with that amount of money. Now, money is power. A lot of money is a lot of power. Every time you spend, every time you earn, you pay taxes. You are giving power to the government. Just imagine how much tax will the population of this country pay in the next 2 decades. Sorry, can't even start to estimate that. But I'm sure we can all agree that it will be a really huge amount. Maybe that's why the leaders of our country are willing to get loans with huge interest rates, because they are not the ones who are going to pay for it. It is you, it is us, our children, the next generation are the ones who are going to pay for it. Now the question here is, who controls that power? Who sets the direction on what happens to our taxes? Who decides on what to do with our money? Is it you, the ones who are paying the taxes? Is it the people with their leaders as their representatives? Or is it just our politicians with their sponsors? A hard question to answer, isn't it? The challenge to the people, the challenge to us, is to realize who controls that power and what to do about it. Another way of asking that question is, do we have a democracy? Democracy is defined as rule by the people. It is also understood as a system of government which promotes participation, equality, tolerance, and liberty. So do we have a democracy? Some, if not most, will say yes, because we elect our leaders every 3 years. Is that enough? Is that good enough to determine we have a democracy? Remember, it is only for 1 day, once every 3 years. And just calling something a democracy does not make a system democratic. And democracy is diminished if it is reduced to procedures like elections. Here's a better question to ask. Do we have a genuine democracy? I have 3 concerns to consider when answering that question. Oops. Anybody know who these people are? They are also your candidates for the Senate. Some of them have interesting backgrounds and ideas that might be key to real change in this country. So my first concern is, how informed are the citizens about all their candidates? Do we have a level playing field during elections? Is your right to be informed only equal to the amount of garbage that the candidates and their sponsors can buy? I believe the process of election in this country is not designed to create a fully informed set of voters. The Commission on Election did not even try to organize a debate between the senatorial candidates this year. How can we create a fully informed set of voters when a lot of popular candidates are scared of debates? Remember, debating is key to the process of crafting laws, which will be their main task if they get elected as senators. Another, our vote has a price tag. I'm not talking about vote buying. I'm talking about something much worse. I'm talking about the system we enabled for decades, wherein a huge amount of cash is an absolute advantage for for winning an election. Some aspiring leaders are being called nuisance candidates because they do not have the financial capacity to run a national campaign. Not all candidates can afford to give away shoes, smartphones, t-shirts, or any other merchandise. Not all candidates can afford to buy TV ads, radio ads, or social media ads. And not all candidates can hire their own troll armies to manipulate the masses for an election. Last 2016 election, I estimated that the possible maximum legal campaign spending of the candidates for the following position would amount to 14.4 billion pesos. That amount of money could have been spent to influence over 10 trillion pesos of government budget. The possible maximum campaign expense seems pretty big. But take note, it is only 0.14% compared to the money of the people that it can influence. And our representatives might just make this situation much worse by radically increasing the campaign expense limit. Why would they do that? Because some candidates are breaking the law. They are overspending, further enabling a system advantageous to the wealthy. Now the question here is, to whom is the accountability of the winning candidates? To whom is the loyalty of our elected officials? Is it to you, their constituents, the voters, the taxpayers, or is it to their sponsors? Second concern to consider, do we have a transparency of government transactions? Where is the freedom of information law? Both this current administration and the previous one promised to make this happen. But where is it? Why are we, the taxpayers, being denied our right to know what happens to our taxes, our money, in a fast and convenient way? Are the China loan deals transparent and fair? I don't know. Ask him. I doubt the government managed to renegotiate the deals in just 5 days. And just recently, our DFA secretary said that the protest against China will not be made public. 2.5 billion pesos. 2.5 billion pesos of confidential intelligence fund that is very hard to audit. This administration said it would be mainly used for anti-corruption and anti-drugs efforts. Take note, this budget is 5 times more compared to the previous administration. And this budget might have been achieved by sacrificing some money for education, a bit literally reducing the intelligence of the Filipino people. Now the question here is, how incomprehensibly low is the intelligence level of this administration for them to spend billions of pesos for anti-drugs efforts and yet still fail miserably? Last concern to consider. Can the public state their agenda? Politicians brand themselves for delivering a specific agenda, but not by answering the agenda of the people. Ask any regular citizens, how can we tell the government what we want? How can you tell the government what to do? Do we always need to resort to huge protests before the government listens to us? Here's a better example. Only 2 out of 10 Filipinos trust that China has good intentions for the Philippines. But this administration is acting the absolute opposite of the sentiment of the majority of the Filipinos. Imagine if there are 5 Filipinos in where this photo was taken, it means only the president trusts China. Consider this, my fellow citizens. As you continuously spend, earn, and pay taxes, as you continuously give power to the government, so is your responsibility to tell the government what to do with your taxes, what to do with your money. So I cannot keep talking about just problems with our genuine democracy. Are there any viable solutions to these issues? So I'm going to cite some examples or ideas that me and my friends are working on the Publico.ph project. Okay. Imagine an equalizing platform for all election candidates. Election campaigns with zero cost. I think we can make it happen. So how will this work? Users submit and upvote issues that they care about, whether on a local or national scope. Then, the candidates respond to those top issues via a selfie video, enabling you, their constituents, to have something to hold them accountable to if they win. Then, the users support or oppose the responses of the candidates. At the end of the campaign period, you get a summary of your voting preferences. Through this process, I believe the accountability, the loyalty of the winning candidates will be truly to their constituents, will be truly yours. Another, Publico aims to scale face-to-face discussion of social issues. What if, imagine, humans are not designed to hold vast amount of information on our own. We are social creatures. The strength of our species is when we cooperate, network, and share knowledge and responsibilities. With this process, maybe we can start talking about issues that our leaders are not willing to talk about. For example, more public spending for election campaigns. Make it zero cost. Make it environmentally friendly. No more posters. No TV ads, and more debates. With this process, I believe we can eliminate the bots, trolls, and fake accounts via social validation through the face-to-face discussion and a facial recognition system. Over time, empowering the platform's real human users and rendering propaganda very inefficient. Another, what if we can enable the public to state their agenda? Basically, digitizing the will of the people. Publico cannot deliver the freedom of information law, but we can enable the citizens. We can enable you to collectively demand for it. So how will this work? Through the same process during the election campaigns, but responses will be limited to the elected officials. Over time, creating a grading system on the quality of service of our elected officials. The grades will be computed using the timeliness of their response and the acceptance of the public to their idea. So why do we need this now? Current internet ecosystems are not good enough for politics, definitely not good enough for genuine democracy. The best engineers of our generation are busy at making you click ads because that is how they earn money. And paid advertising is against a level playing field during elections. And these platforms are still struggling with their bots, trolls, and fake news and propaganda issues. Another good reason, a new generation is coming, and they are digital natives. Filipinos spend around 10 hours per day on the internet and around 4 hours in social media. What if we can enable the public to do something more productive than simply liking or sharing? How about a fraction of those hours for civic engagement? Let's start focusing on the right things. Focus on ideas, not on political brand. Focus on solutions, not on propaganda. Focus on the people, not on politicians. So what is needed to make this happen? It will not be easy. In fact, it will be brutally very hard. But we need to start building internet platforms with genuine democracy as a key guiding principle. Schools should grow their students to become great citizens. We need to build tools to make that happen. And companies should tell their employees every payday, every time they pay their taxes, to tell the government what can make their lives better. And us citizens, let us be financially responsible. We should know our lifetime income tax. Let's look at it not just as money, but also as time. Imagine if you are going to work for 45 years before you retire, and let's say the average tax in that period is around 20%. That means 9 years of your life will be given to the government. Let's start looking at the money, the power, the time that we are giving to the government, not just on the basis of now, but in the perspective of our lifetime. If you are willing to call and complain to your service providers when things goes bad, why not do the same to the government who has you on a paid subscription for a lifetime? Let's start telling the government that we deserve better. My vision for our country is to create a cycle wherein good citizens grow great leaders, and great leaders grow great citizens. Let's jumpstart this cycle now. Remember, politics is not just for the politicians. Politics is for all of us. If we can enable leaders that truly listen to the people, if we can empower the citizens to demand for what they deserve, great changes can happen. Let's start growing the next generation of citizens and leaders that aspires for genuine democracy. Maybe someday, mothers don't have to leave their child to work abroad. Maybe someday, we can eradicate poverty. Maybe someday, we can have peace. I just want to leave you guys something to think about. If you are going to give 9 years of your life, your money, your taxes to the government, what do you think you deserve in exchange for that slice of your lifetime? Thank you.